Everybody's journey is individual, wrote author James Baldwin. On this, the centennial of Baldwin's birth, Kelefa Sanneh finds more and more attention is being paid to his singular journey.
It is now with very great pleasure and a very great...
In 1965, in the packed Cambridge Union Society in London,
I find myself, not for the first time, the position of a kind of Jeremiah.
James Baldwin, a voice of the civil rights movement, debated the commentator William F. Buckley, who was skeptical of the cause. The topic? That, quote, the American dream has been achieved at the expense of the American Negro.
It comes as a great shock around the age of 5 or 6 or 7 to discover the flag to which you have pledged allegiance, along with everybody else, has not pledged allegiance to you.
Baldwin won in a landslide, 554 votes to 164.
He didn't go to college, he ain't educated, he's Poe. Yeah. He grew up in a place that isn't supposed to be able to hold fire with Buckley and with anyone. He's created himself.
Kevin Young is the director of the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington. He's also my colleague at The New Yorker.
That's what's so tremendous about him, is to see his almost very American transformation and say, I have a voice, and I know what I believe, and I can say it beautifully.
100 years ago, James Arthur Jones was born in Harlem, New York. Soon after, his mother, Emma Burtis Jones, married David Baldwin, a volatile Baptist preacher. Her son, now called James Baldwin, found a nearby escape.
He spent a lot of time here as a kid, didn't he?
Yes. He came to visit the 135th Street Branch Library at least 3 or 4 times a week.
Baldwin once said he read every book in the building, which is now the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. Barry Brown is curator of a new exhibition dedicated to Jimmy, as he was known.
He listed that he wanted to be a novelist and a playwright, so it seems like he knew that he was destined for great things.
At the age of 24, Baldwin moved to France, where he wrote his first novel, Go Tell It on the Mountain, and his first collection of essays, Notes of a Native Son.
I think that there was this shadow that always was sort of cast over him.
Rhea Combs curated the Smithsonian's National Portrait Gallery exhibition on Baldwin.
He was a visionary thinker, and sort of speaking truth to power in a way that was not necessarily always sort of recognized or appreciated at the time.
In the 1960s, Baldwin marched and spoke out for civil rights in Selma, in Washington, and elsewhere.
He's older than Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Medgar Evers.
Sure.
And he outlives all of them.
Well, and I think he's doing the civil rights work that led, in many ways, to the movement. He transforms his unease into writing.
In the 60s, he kind of acquires this reputation in America as a celebrity, as an oracle.
At the heart of who he was an integrationist who really sort of believed that there were these opportunities for America to live up to her principles and values. He's using his writings as a way to be autobiographical, but it becomes a portrait of America ultimately.
Writer, essayist, Black, New Yorker, expatriate, gay, and that's maybe affected the way he's viewed, right?
100%. James Baldwin is a multiplicity of identities, just like we all are. And that's what I think resonates so much with his writings, is that grappling of these multiple selves that make up an individual.
Did everyone know he was gay?
I don't believe so. I think that it was sort of assumed, it was presumed through the text, through the writings.
In 1956, he published a pioneering novel, Giovanni's Room, about a love affair between 2 white men in Paris.
I always go back to this quote. He says, I want to be an honest man and a good writer. As a man, he wants to be honest, and as a writer, he wants to be good.
Yeah.
These are slightly different things.
James Baldwin died in 1987 at 63 at his home in the south of France, which was paid for by his 42 books and hundreds of essays.
He would maybe be only 1 generation removed from slavery.
Well, his grandmother who lived with them had been enslaved.
He's one of our most history-based writers. You can't get to America without going through Baldwin.
If he were still with us, do you think he would be surprised at how many people are still reading him and still talking about him?
Depends on the Baldwin you meet.
Yep.
I think maybe in public he'd be humble, and then in private say, I knew I was right, you know.